Welcome to the tutorial for the RayPulse Trading Indicator. In this tutorial, we'll be covering the following information: how to add RayPulse to your charts, what the different chart indicators mean, and the RayPulse settings. Just before we begin the tutorial, we'll first talk briefly about what RayPulse is and what you need in order to use it. RayPulse is a trading strategy that has been built as an indicator for TradingView. This means that to use RayPulse, you'll need a TradingView account. Creating a TradingView account is easy and free. RayPulse has been built to function fully using just a free account, and the paid TradingView accounts aren't required. First, let's take a look at the way you add the RayPulse Trading Indicator to your charts. On desktop, you'll head to the Indicators, Metrics and Strategies button, located at the top of the screen and to the right of the candle options. It should look like this. Now click on that and go down to Invite Only Scripts and click on your preferred RayPulse trading strategy that you have access to. If you don't see the Invite Only Script section or the RayPulse trading strategy, then please contact a member of staff to assist you with getting access. A link to our official Discord server where you can ask questions and get support can be found in the video description. Alternatively, you can head over to raypulse.trade/contact and send us a message. If you're on the mobile app, you'll need to tap the plus button at the bottom of the screen and tap Indicators. Then tap the back button and tap Invite Only Scripts. Clicking on the indicator will pop up a small field for risk management. You can leave this setting as default for the time being and click Apply. We'll be changing this and talking about it in more detail later in the video. And that's it! You should now see RayPulse added to your charts. Next, we're going to go over the different indicator icons you'll be seeing on your charts, what they mean and why you're seeing them. So first up, probably the most important indicators you'll see will be the red and green entry signals. These mean that the RayPulse strategy has signaled either a long entry, represented in green, or a short entry, represented in red. The entry will appear above or below the bar that the signal was triggered on, with the orange line next to the entry showing where on the candle the entry triggered. The purple line indicates where the stop loss for that trade is set. More detailed information for specific entry and stop loss information can be found by hovering over the entry signal. Sometimes, but not always, you may see red or green dots preceding an entry signal, or just hanging around by themselves. These dots are pre-signals and indicate that some, but not all of the criteria for a long or short entry have been met. It is possible to configure alerts for these, which can help you prepare for a trade. Next up are the orange indicators, which will say either HLE, HSE, or SL, which stands for hard long exit, hard short exit, or stop loss. The stop loss indicator is self-explanatory. This is the invalidation point for the trade, and moving your stop to break even as soon as possible is recommended. For the hard, long and short exits, if you're in a trade and you see one of these print, RayPulse is telling you to get out of the trade because the trend is changing. This is not a take profit indication, and profit should likely already have been taken if you see this. This is a get out while you can signal and should be treated accordingly. Hovering over these will provide you with additional information as well. Lastly, we have our grey indicator, which is our maximum profit and loss, or max P&L for short. These indications are informational only and can be helpful for backtesting different settings to see what works better on your selected assets and timeframes. It will show you the maximum profit that a trade could have made had profit been taken during that trade. Now that we know what we're seeing on the charts, let's go and talk about the RayPulse settings and get an understanding of what we can configure. Head over to the RayPulse indicator name, located at the top left of the screen, and hover over it with your mouse cursor. You should see a cogwheel appear. Go ahead and click that to bring up the settings menu. On a mobile device, you can just tap it and settings should appear. The first section we'll talk about is the main settings section. Our first setting is Use Auto Trend. This is on by default. With this enabled, RayPulse will automatically calculate the higher time frame trend. RayPulse will use the higher time frame trend to determine when to enter longs versus shorts. We recommend keeping this setting on. Next is Aggressive Exits, off by default. With this enabled or on, the HLE and HSE on the charts will change to ALE and ASE, short for Aggressive Long or Short Exit. This setting will instruct RayPulse to be more aggressive when deciding to hard exit a trade. This setting can be useful in highly volatile markets, and we recommend backtesting this to determine what works better for you. Auto Trend Factor. The default and most tested value is 4. The Auto Trend Factor is how we tell RayPulse what higher term time frame to use when calculating the trend. With the default value of 4, on the 4-hour chart, RayPulse will look at the 16-hour time frame. 4 to a factor of 4 equals 16. We do recommend changing this value during your backtesting to determine what yields better results for your chart and time frame combination. Set Trend Mode. The trend mode is a proprietary calculation that RayPulse uses to calculate the current trend for the selected asset. The default mode for this option is 1, but this can be changed to mode 2 if you find it works better during backtesting of your selected asset and time frame. Risk Management, Max Stop Loss Percentage. Remember that setting that popped up when we added RayPulse to our charts? This is it. And this is one of the most important settings that must always be changed based on your personal risk tolerance. By default, the max stop loss percentage is set to 10.5%. That does not mean it is the best value. There is no best value. Adjusting this setting will cause RayPulse to remove trades that do not fall into your set risk. We highly recommend changing it to a percentage you personally are comfortable with. The next section is the manual trend settings. Manually analyze long-term trend. Off by default. This is an advanced setting which allows you to manually set the higher term time frame for RayPulse to calculate the trend. Use Auto Trend must be turned off for this to work. Manual long-term trend analysis. If using Analyze Long-Term Trend, then you can set the time frame here. Please note that this is not chart or time frame specific and will need to be adjusted every time you wish to use a different value. Dashboard settings. Show Signal and Trend Dashboard. On by default. This will toggle the signal dashboard on or off. Dashboard location. This is a visual setting and will change the location of the signal dashboard. Dashboard size. Another visual setting to shorten or lengthen the size of the signal dashboard. The label settings. Minimize labels. On by default. Toggling this setting will increase the size of the indicators on the chart and include all the information you see if you hover over the indicator, such as the entry price, stop loss, and stop loss percentage. Enable Max P&L Label. On by default. This setting toggles on or off the maximum profit percentage indicator, which is the gray indicator I mentioned earlier in the video. Disable Entry Repaint. On by default. This setting, which is enabled by default, will make RayPulse wait for the candle to close before signaling an entry. You can disable this setting to allow RayPulse to print a trade entry before the candle has closed. Please note that having this setting turned off could result in RayPulse printing an entry that does not fulfill all of the criteria for an open trade once the candle closes. Please backtest to determine what works best on your asset and time frame. Lastly, the Alerts to Use section. We will be covering RayPulse alerts in more detail in our alerts tutorial video, which will be available in the RayPulse tutorial playlist on YouTube or on our website. But for now, I'll just mention that if you only want to be alerted for longs, then deselect shorts and vice versa. Please note that you will need to recreate any existing alerts for this to take effect. Take profit or TP, pre-sig, and wait bar close we will cover in the alerts tutorial video. And that's it. I hope you found this video tutorial for the RayPulse Trading Indicator helpful and informative. To stay up to date with RayPulse and connect with our helpful and friendly community, you can use the link in the video description to join our Discord. You can also join via our website, and if you have a QR code reader on your mobile phone, you can scan the code on screen now to take you directly to raypulse.trade. I wish you all happy and profitable trading. Until next time.